It's always nice when you clap before I talk. So I could just blow it from here and we'll still be okay. For what it's worth, my wife and I think that it is hilarious that 2 of our children have chosen to write papers about fashion and then actually won persuasive speeches and then given them again to this group of people. So however many years ago when Cal said every guy needs to wear a suit, and again then Hallie this year. So, my wife feels bad enough. A hoodie really works good all the time. That fits her I'm in pain body type. It's not Kibby body type, it's the I'm in pain. So that's how it goes. So what makes ECS the best school in the world? Okay, so maybe you feel like that question is ridiculous. Maybe we need to narrow it down a little bit. Okay, good. What makes ECS the best school in Snohomish County? Maybe you still are wondering, is that setting our sights too high? Okay, could we be the best private school in Snohomish County? Okay, could we be the best private Christian school in Snohomish County? All right, we really only got one more. Could we be the best private Christian classical school in Snohomish County? Obviously, some of that depends on what we mean by the best. So there are different things that would go into that definition. Maybe we are not capital TB, the best. And even if we were, then some Christian is going to say, hey, are you allowed to talk like that? I thought Christians were humble people. So maybe, have you seen the Homes.com commercial series where they're saying that they're not allowed to say that Homes.com is the best, but then they just keep saying that through the whole commercial, that they're not allowed to say it? So ECS is the best.com, and we can say it, maybe whether it's true or not. So yeah, are we the best school in the world? I actually would like for you to not quite give that up in your thinking, even if it would take a little time to work in. But are we trying to do what everybody else is trying to do? Are we just trying to be one of many options? Other than the names of our people and the address of our location, do we actually have anything unique, or are we just like all the other flamboyant, natural, Kibby body type classical Christian schools? That's what Hallie, flamboyant natural is one of the categories. So is ECS just, one of those? This question and conversation have been taking place for at least a few months on a variety of different levels. And I actually think that we as an institution have not done as good of a job to clarify and then even to communicate our value, which I do actually believe is a only one of its kind value. That could be just ridiculous, but I actually believe it. Maybe like, okay, you're ridiculous. Well, that is okay. I actually believe that we have only one of its kind value. Now, a lot of our school looks like a school, looks like any other school. Our school's tangible things, they look like other schools. We have classrooms and teachers. We have books to read, papers to write, tests to take. Even our teaching model following the trivium it's not just something that we do. Yeah, the other ACCS sister schools, even in Western Washington, that we love. They are following the trivium and taking their students through grammar, logic, and rhetoric stages. It is not our playground. Have you seen our playground? Have you parked on our playground? That is the question. It is not our playground that makes us unique, though I suppose if we really wanted to spin it, we could say that using the parking lot as our soccer, foursquare, tetherball, tag, jump rope, and kickball field is different. That is unique. I wouldn't say that's what makes us the only one of a kind in value. We are trying to nail the tangibles. So again, the tangible things, they look like what a school would look like. And we are trying to nail those tangibles. We do not stop trying to make the most of our campus and curriculum. Our academic culture is excellent. It is getting sharper year by year. That said, if you walked around our campus for 5 minutes, you'd say, this looks like a school. What's up? Where's this only one of a kind value you're talking about? Our mission is to commend the works of the Lord to the next generation so that they will carry and advance Christ-honoring culture. And actually, we think even lots of Christians, that's a Christian idea. So even that part of the mission itself is not unique. But what do we mean when we say carry and advance Christ-honoring culture? What are the ingredients that make up that sort of culture? We don't want those ingredients to be secret. That said, those ingredients and the ingredients I'm about ready to talk to you about, they are not tangible. Like you can't touch them. It's sort of like if you walked into a room where they were baking bread. You know you want to be in that room, but you can't actually touch the aroma. You can't even see it. But that aroma makes it a place you want to be. So the aroma, the intangibles that are part of ECS, help make us valuable. In fact, we could call these the ECS enculturation trifecta for unfavorable conditions. I do need to say just for a second, I just get a kick out of the word trifecta. I think I first laughed out loud when I saw a scene in Ocean's 12 where Matt Damon says, we got this, we got this. It's a trifecta. Since then, I like calling everything I possibly can a trifecta. Trifecta is better than just its three. So in its actual context, trifecta is what happens at the track when you bet on the horses and you actually get all three places correctly. So a trifecta is not just a triple, it's a triple win. And that works even in this, not just because I think it's funny and I like saying trifecta, but this is the ECS trifecta for our enculturation efforts in unfavorable conditions. Solomon said that two are better than one and that a threefold cord is not quickly broken. And so this trifecta of intangible but invaluable essences go into our Christ-honoring culture. I think these are things that we already have. These are things that we continue to try to advance even more, equip the next generation to carry and advance. So again, this is not just vision. This is part of what we have already. That's our unique value, and that we hope to make even more better going forward. Three things: masculine nerve, tactical laughter, and radical company. Masculine nerve, tactical laughter, and radical company. So, masculine nerve. It has been said that cultures are built by men who have families to feed. Cultures are built by men who have families to feed. Our school culture is built by men who have families to feed. Many of the employees that we have at ECS, they are the single income for their house. They're men, they're the breadwinners. They actually have families to feed, and being built by men who have children to feed with truth, goodness, and beauty. so that they will be able to take on that Christ-honoring culture going forward. We currently have as many male teachers as female teachers, which even that 50%, if you look at the little trifold thing, see trifold? It's not quite a trifecta. It's close. But really, isn't it a bifold? Because it's two folds. That's not what makes it unique. In there, you see the number that we are double, actually, the percentage of men who are investing on our campus on a daily basis than your typical private school, that have 25% or so of their teachers as men. And one of the things that enables those other schools to do, which are paying similar to what we're paying, it is many times paying ladies who are getting a second paycheck for their household, which is great. But we're actually trying to get men into the positions and trying to pay them so that they could buy a house in Snohomish County. So if you want me to stop and you're just ready to get out your checkbook for that, you're going to need a couple checks probably to, right? But this is a goal that the school board has, that we'd be able to get men who could be the single paycheck for their household, that they'd be able to love living where we are and be able to own their own house, their own property. And that is a challenging thing. We were making progress towards that a few years ago, and then the last few years have really made that a burden. So that is a kind of unfavorable condition, where especially some of those breadwinning men could probably get much better paying jobs. And we love that they're helping us build our culture. Now, the number itself of how many men we have is unique, but the men themselves that we have, they have nerve. Having nerve is having a sense of purpose and a spine when things get tough. Our men are not girly men. They are manly men. Have you ever heard someone say, "Wow, can you believe the nerve of that guy?" We're like, "Yeah, we hired him." We want men who have nerve. We have so many men that are employed that we have matins every school day morning. And part of matins includes having someone pray. And Jonathan always selects somebody different to have them pray. He got a question a couple years ago, "Why don't you ever ask the lady teachers to pray?" There'd be nothing wrong, actually, with asking the later teachers to pray. The problem is we have so many men, we can't get through each one of them in a month of matins. That is an excellent problem. So this does not frustrate our ladies, by the way. It means that the dude or the dudes, ideally, are out taking the hits, and they're making it look good back behind the wall. So we absolutely need the ladies. The ladies, they give it life. They give it color. They give it joy. They also bring their laughter. They're not frustrated by having these other guys who are on campus. We actually have guys with guns. I was talking to one of my classes just yesterday about it, and one student went, "What?" We actually have guys with guns. And you can see our policy for how many rounds they have to practice a year and what training they have to get. And, we have a whole policy for sake of insurance and all those kinds of things. But we actually have guys with guns. And truth be told, we're actually glad when our ladies have guns. We just hope they never have to pull them out. It should be the dudes who are helping protect our people, your students, your grandkids. We got men. And this translates to our young men. It translates to our students as well. A couple weeks ago, I was reading an article about a lady who had run a homeschool prom for some Christian students. And this particular year, the evening was fine, except that all night long, no guy asked any girl to dance. And she was observing that these are young men who actually, they know how to do stuff. Like most of them are lifting weights. They're the good students. They're reading their books. They're completing their assignments. But they weren't actually willing to have enough nerve to take a risk and face rejection by asking a girl to dance. I'm telling you, ECS is full of guys who know how to ask girls to dance. This is not, it didn't just accidentally happen. It is being cultivated. It's being encouraged. And it's being modeled by the men that we have. So we have men with backbone leading the charge and women with backbone making it glorious. So when conditions are unfavorable, you want men with chests. That is C.S. Lewis's comment from The Abolition of Man, that lots of modern education is making men without chests. We have men with chests, not in the transgender Western Washington. This kind of men with chests is men who have ordered loves and convictions and vision and enterprise. They are men with families to feed, and they're trying to build a culture. We have it. We're trying to advance masculine nerve. Secondly is tactical laughter. Maybe the easiest thing in the world to do is see the problems. What is easier to get a television show doing than to be a critic? There are so many problems, so many things that are wrong. It's actually it's harder to not see the problems than to see the problems. Education tends to actually make this process worse because the educated know more of what it could be. The educated know more of what it should be, what might have been. It is just not hard at all to complain. A kindergartner can complain, and highly educated people complaining in multiple syllables may sound more intellectual, but it doesn't actually fix anything. Our school motto is laughter is war. Risus est bellum, laughter is war. It is a real, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. We are actually in a real battle to learn stuff and then to see so many broken things and also not take ourselves too seriously because we're so awesome at seeing the problems. We are not laughing because nothing is wrong. We are laughing trying to deal with what is wrong with a good attitude. Let men their laughs employ. Loud laughter and its cousin, strong singing, which we also have. Loud laughter is the audible aroma, which I get that's a mixing of metaphors, but I wasn't classically educated, so you take what you can get. Loud laughing is an audible aroma, going back to that room you want to be in when the bread is baking. Loud laughter is a room you want to be in when it's the right kind of loud laughter, as it is then the aroma of our faith and joy and hope. There is a sense, yes, in which laughter is our goal, but more than a goal, it's a tactic. A tactic is a tool. A tactic is a thing. Hey, I'm facing this issue right now. I'm not sure what to do. What tool do I need to try to attack it or approach it? I know what I need. I should try to laugh. It's 10 o'clock. I just got home from the choir concert, and I have a 6-page paper due tomorrow morning that, even though the teacher told me about 3 months ago, I still haven't made any progress on. What do I need? Well, a pot of black coffee, or maybe a Monster drink, and laughing. Ha ha ha! I was stupid for waiting until now. I could have been making some sort of progress, but you know what? We got this. We can do this. Let's go. You think teachers have it all figured out when they show up to class? One option is to take out that lack of preparedness on the students, or to laugh and say, let's go. We got stuff to learn. Let's do it. So we don't wait to the end of the day when we're finished. Oh, now we laugh. Ha, wasn't that rough? Ha, ha, ha. No, we're trying to laugh while we're working throughout the day on purpose. We're trying to actually give laughter as part of a skill set. If you don't have it, you can get it. If you're not good at it, you can get better at it. You can be master laugher with picking up tactical laughter. Unlike the world, we are not teaching our students how to score higher on the victim scale. We're not trying to train them how to be more easily offended or to identify as the oppressed, though they may actually be in certain situations. And what do you want them to respond with? I think you want them to respond with the right kind of laughter. When we look around and see those who seem to be succeeding even in their self-confident ways, Psalm 52:8 says, "The righteous shall see and fear and laugh." Not see and fear and freak out. That is what is natural. That is what is easy, to freak out, fight freaking out with freaking out. But when you fight freaking out and unfavorable conditions with laughter, you're doing something really different and unique. So in Proverbs 31, about the God-fearing woman, one of the things she's known by is laughing at the times to come. The times to come, the future, that's uncertain. Best case scenario, the future is unknown. What should you do when you're heading into the unknown? What should you do when you're facing the hard thing? A week full of events, tough assignments, challenges in the world. ECS has and is advancing tactical laughter, which brings us to the third part of the trifecta, which is radical company. Have you ever felt like you maybe are even trying to laugh when it's hard, but you feel all by yourself? Have you ever felt like you're a lone charcoal? Remember back when you used to have to light charcoal briquettes so that you could grill things? You couldn't just push buttons. Maybe if you have felt like you're a lone charcoal trying to cook a big steak. Well, we are trying to together be a pile of hot bricks ready to cook whatever is coming. The word is company. Company, we typically, in our modern usage, it got applied to companies like business. And all right, there's spots for talking about military divisions as a company of soldiers. That's okay as well. But actually, I first noticed the word company in a book called That Hideous Strength. You want to talk about unfavorable conditions. If you know the plot and what happens in That Hideous Strength. But there is a company at St. Anne's, and they're like the little ragtag group that the world, not Snohomish County, that the world depends on, them being in fellowship with each other. Them being ready to obey whatever they're called to do. They're the company at St. Anne's. It actually comes from the Latin word com, meaning together or with, and panis, meaning bread. A companion is someone you share bread with. The real first meaning of a company are the people who are sharing a table. They're people who are sharing a feast. We are, right now, a company. We are sharing together in the good blessings that God has given us. Bread breakers, sharing this feast. And pursuing this type of fellowship is costly. Trying to have this kind of joyful feast the amount of work that goes into the preparations ahead of time. And actually, probably you know what's made it really good is that you all have mostly been sanctified towards the people who are really annoying you tonight. Have you been tempted to be like, I can't believe that she's not wearing the dress according to her kibby body type? I mean, maybe that's just me. You're like, I can't get through this aisle. And I got to wait for 80 people to come through. Like, whatever the thing is. You are doing work to make this more fun by being sanctified. By killing your sin, killing your impatience, killing your annoyance, you are making it more awesome because you're acting like a Christian. And we're trying to pursue that every day at school, which like, wow, hours a day with the same people, the same teacher, the same classmates, the same annoying people. How are you going to get through that? Well, when you sin, you ask for forgiveness. You turn away from your sin, you get restored to fellowship. And when you are sinned against, you don't hold it against them forever. You actually offer them forgiveness like a Christian. That's radical. Radical actually comes from the Latin root radix, which means root. So we think of radical people as extreme people, and that is kind of true, but actually radical people are extremely connected to the root idea that they can't get away from. So radical communists, they're radical, they're extreme in their behavior because they can't quit thinking about the principles. That happens to be a wrong principle. At ECS, our roots are the Evangel, which means gospel, which means Jesus died and rose again, and that just changes everything. Amen. So that means that when you sin, you actually don't have to spend 3 weeks feeling bad about it, giving yourself some measure of penance. It means you say, I was wrong. I sinned. Please forgive me. It means our teachers are ready to do that. Just yesterday, we had one of our teachers ask the entire school for forgiveness for a sin that he committed in front of the rest of the students. Last week, we had a 12th grader who got annoyed with a 7th or 8th grader while they were trying to do a project together, and that 12th grader, imagine, a senior. This senior has got 3 weeks left of school. That's it. It is time to actually go to have real life. And actually, real life is, I got annoyed at this person who is way younger than me, way not as cool as me. I mean, not that this is what the senior was thinking, but you can imagine that. Is being annoyed and impatient with a 7th grader, isn't that a virtue? That's not a sin. This senior knew it was wrong and went and tried to make it right, asked for forgiveness from the 7th grader. This is radical, deeply rooted company trying to do this together. ECS is absolutely committed to dealing with our sin, our brother's sin. Matthew 18, when your brother sins against you, what do? Students learn how to ask for forgiveness and then learn what reconciliation and full restoration looks and feels like. We're in this together. It is trying to keep short accounts because when you have short accounts, you're in fellowship and it's way more fun and that ends up being way more fruitful. The roots make it fruitful, the gospel makes it fruitful, and just way more fun. ECS has, and we're trying to advance, radical company. So, the trifecta. Wrapping these 3 strands together, it's actually no wonder that this night every year is actually kind of the culmination of our culture. Because we've got men at tables laughing, having a good time in a feasty sort of environment as a company. So, of course, this is fun because this is what ECS is trying to do. Not the fundraising necessarily, but the feasting. It's like being around Beowulf's table in Heorot. Who doesn't want a man with glad gravity ready to go cut off the dragon's head? Who doesn't want that? Enjoying the laughter, having a good meal together, a delightful aroma. Now, before I finish, a little observation that's kind of interesting is that my comment about men with chests, that actually comes from a book by C.S. Lewis called The Abolition of Man. I mentioned that. King Loon is kind of the embodiment in The Horse and His Boy of laughter, tactical laughter, laughing louder over a scantier meal than any man in your kingdom, if you remember that quote. And company, I said, comes from that hideous strength, or at least that's where the company idea got provoked from. And even the phrase unfavorable conditions turns out to be from an address called Learning in Wartime. This is all C.S. Lewis stuff. So maybe we should say ECS stands for Educating Like CS. Maybe the CS is really Clive Staples and you didn't know it all along. Or maybe we could at least say that ECS is a place that Lewis would have sent his children across the pond to attend. So if you're like, well, I don't like C.S. Lewis, so that doesn't mean anything to me. Hey, it's fine. You can appreciate the rest of the things that we were talking about. So I really don't think that there's any other place like ECS. Again, we are seeking to nail the tangibles that build a school and then bake that trifecta of intangibles that advance a culture, where our men do not take the back seat, they've got skin in the game, where laughter isn't a joke and our gladness has gravity, where we're not retreating, that's not an option, we're not building a bunker, we're not trying to build a bubble, we're trying to be a radical company, and that is powerful, and it is worth it. So the ECS enculturation trifecta is masculine laughter, masculine nerve, tactical laughter, radical company. If you want to see radical company spelled in Scrabble blocks, you can go to the Nunziato's table. They gave a little teaser of that, but it's still out if you want to see that. So in order to keep this kind of thing going, what would you give to have it? And I actually mean that in multiple ways. What would you give to keep encouraging a place that is trying to advance this sort of Christ-honoring culture? What would you give to have this for your kids? What would you give to have this for your grandkids? What would you give to have this for Snohomish County? What would you give to have this for the honor of Christ in the world? Maybe we're not the best in the world, but I actually do think that the world needs us honoring Christ where we're at for His glory. He doesn't need us, but I think He has purposes to bless us. So masculine nerve, tactical laughter, radical company, keep employing all of that while you keep enjoying the night.